Hey everybody, Dragonfire here, and I'm coming at you with another one in my all-time NBA team series. Today, we have for you the Philadelphia 76ers. Yes, sir, the Philadelphia 76ers. All right. Originally or formerly known as the Syracuse Nationals. I think they might have gone through one or two name changes before landing on the Nationals. I'd have to look it up to jog my memory there. But anyway, they're most known as either the Syracuse Nationals or the Philadelphia 76ers. So, yeah, originally from Syracuse, New York, and then later Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. But yeah, like I said, they might have had another name before the Syracuse Nationals. I don't remember. But they were founded in 1946 at in the NBL, the National Basketball League, 1946. Now, there were actually six teams that were founded in 1946 and played their first season of pro basketball in the 1946/47 season. Rather, that be in the NBL or the Basketball Association of America, or BAA, which is the forerunner to the NBA. The NBA does count those first three seasons of the BAA, three, three seasons back in the 1940s before they officially changed their name to the NBA. They do not count the NBL seasons, but the NBL is actually a much older league, actually dating back to the 1930s. So, um, the but several NBL teams ended up jumping ship to the BAA, and then they ended up eventually having a merger. The NBL and the BAA merged, and that's when it officially became the National Basketball Association, or the NBA. But anyway, this is one of those teams that was in the NBL until the very last season, the 1948/49 season, before becoming one of the first teams under the new NBA name. Yeah, the Philadelphia 76ers, of course, they were the Syracuse Nationals back then. And their first big uh, moment came in 1955 when they won the NBA championship in 1955, and the leader of that team and the best player on that team was Dolph Shades. And they would um, kind of wind down the Dolph Shades era, would eventually move from Syracuse, New York to Philadelphia, Pennsylvania after the Warriors left Philly. The Warriors were originally the Philadelphia Warriors, but they left and went to California and became the San Francisco Warriors, and then later on the Golden State Warriors. Um, so once the Warriors were in San Francisco, Philly needed a team, and the Nationals moved to Philly and became the 76ers. And with the 76ers, they won a championship in 1967. I believe they defeated the San Francisco Warriors in the NBA Finals that year, but the big matchup was actually the Eastern Conference Finals, or more properly at the time, I believe it was still known as the Eastern Division. But yeah, the Eastern Division Finals, they defeated the um, Boston Celtics. And prior to that, the Boston Celtics had won 10 straight Eastern Division titles. So when the Philadelphia 76ers uh, finally beat them in 1967, it was a very big deal. Um, Beat them in the Eastern Division um, finals, and then went on to the NBA finals to face Wilt Chamberlain's former team in the San Francisco Warriors, who were led by their big man Nate Thurman. But Wilt Chamberlain was on a tear that year for the Philadelphia 76ers. and the Sixers won the championship. Wilt Chamberlain won a total of 3 MVPs while a member of the 76ers. Um, and he had his sidekicks on that team with Billy Cunningham and Hal Greer. Um, they were kind of the big three of that team. They also had one of the best regular season records ever. I think it was actually the best regular season record up till that point. And I believe by that point the regular season was up to 80 or 81 games. But they won 68, I believe 68 games out of either 80 or 81. Wasn't quite an 82 game season yet at that point, if I'm not mistaken. Um, but yeah, they won 68 games, and that was at the time the NBA record. And so that was a great team there, that 1967 Philadelphia 76ers team led by Wilt Chamberlain. Uh, and then they had kind of a few decades there where they weren't maybe as big a top tier team, especially after Chamberlain left and went to the Lakers. But they eventually got Julius Erving from the New York Nets, traded for Julius Erving to get him from the Nets. And then in that Julius Erving era of the late 70s and early 80s, they made this NBA Finals a number of times before finally winning a championship in 1983 when they traded their center Gil Dawkins for Moses Malone. And the combination of Moses Malone and Julius Erving, Dr. J, as they call him, together they won a championship in 1983 in one of the most dominant playoff runs in the history of the NBA. So those are the three times the Philadelphia 76ers slash Syracuse Nationals have won NBA championships. So they have 3 NBA championships. 55, 67, and 83. They did make the NBA Finals again in, was it 2000 or 2001? It was either 2000 or 2001 when they were led by Allen Iverson. I think it was 01. And Allen Iverson and Dikembe Mutombo was the DPOY that year. So they had a good combination there. There were some years in the late 80s and early 90s where they were led by Charles Barkley. Of course, and Joel Embiid more recently, in the couple years ago here in the 2020s, has secured himself an MVP, regular season MVP for Joel Embiid. And so the Philadelphia 76ers have a long, kind of rich history. So who am I going to pick for my starting lineup? At point guard, he plays some point guard and some shooting guard. I'm going to have him as a point guard on my team, and that's going to be Allen Iverson. Just a great high-scoring machine. Incredible handles, great at dribbling the basketball, and a very capable point guard. A lot of people have criticized him for his efficiency, point out he wasn't very efficient, but I think that may have been a product of the defense that was against him rather than just a product of his shooting ability. And also he won't have to carry the load offensively. He was a very high volume scorer, but on this all-time team, he won't have to carry the load offensively as much as he did on many of the teams that he played for in his actual playing career. At shooting guard, I got Julius Erving, Dr. J. Dr. J, no doubt about it, one of the greatest Philadelphia 76ers of all time. Pretty more or less single-handedly led them to the NBA Finals in 1977. Probably would have won a championship that first year after the NBA-ABA merger, had it not been for Bill Walton and the Portland Trailblazers. Um, when Bill Walton was healthy, Bill Walton was one of the greatest of all time. It's just that it was hard for Bill Walton to stay healthy. Um, but eventually, when he got enough help, he was able to win a championship in the early 80s alongside Moses Malone. I really feel like Dr. J is an underrated player in NBA history. So we got Dr. J, Julius Erving there. At my small forward, I'm going with a guy who I think played more like power forward slash center back in his day, but I'm putting him at the small forward spot, and that's Dolph Shades. Dolph Shades um, has an argument for being one of the most like single-handed superstar players to lead a team to a championship all by himself, more or less. One of the best to ever do that is like the lone superstar on the team. Dolph Shades. Um, yeah, he's my starting small forward. That's because at the power forward spot, I got Moses Malone. Now, he did mostly play center during his career, but I think he also played some power forward. And for this team, it makes more sense to put him in at the power forward spot. But he won a MVP and a Finals MVP while in the Sixers uniform at the very end of his prime there. Had a year or two with the 76ers when he was really good. One of the greatest players of all time. And Wilt Chamberlain is going to be my center. I tell you, with Julius Erving, I think he's going to be an above average rebounder for a shooting guard. And when you combine that with Dolph Shades, Moses Malone, and Wilt Chamberlain, the rebounding on this starting unit, and actually I've got I got quite good rebounders coming off the bench for this team as well. So yeah, the rebounding for this Philadelphia 76ers all-time team going up against the other all-time teams, this team is going to like lead the league in rebounding. So the other teams are going to need to shoot a high field goal percentage to kind of counteract that. But yeah, this is insane rebounding team. I'm putting Billy Cunningham as the head coach. I believe he was the coach for the 1983 championship team. He was also a former player for the 76ers, but he was the coach, I believe, in 83 when they won the title in 1983. Um, for my second unit, my point guard is going to be Mo Cheeks or Maurice Cheeks. Who was the point guard on that 83 championship team. I'm moving Hal Gurr to my shooting guard spot. He was kind of a combo guard, shooting guard slash point guard back for the team that won the title back in 67. I've also got Billy Cunningham coming off the bench as my backup small forward, and Charles Barkley as my backup power forward, and of course former MVP Joel Embiid as my backup center. And then for my reserve list, I've got former DPOY Dikembe Mutombo and a few other players, Andre Iguodala and Larry Costello and Red Kerr. Okay, so I'll show this list now. If they have an asterisk next to their name, that means that they were a member of one of the 76ers championship teams. So here's my all-time Philadelphia 76ers, founded in 1946. And here's my all-time team, so you can get a good look at that. But yeah, you can see that there's some insane rebounding coming on the starting lineup and coming off the bench. Billy Cunningham, Charles Barkley, Joel Embiid, even Dikembe Mutombo. All these guys are going to be like great rebounders coming off the bench. The 76ers will never be hurt for rebounds, both offensive and defensive rebounds. And rebounding is such an underappreciated aspect of the game. When you get an offensive rebound, that gives you a second chance to shoot the ball, second chance to score points on that possession, um, because nobody shoots 100%. So you got to have those second chance opportunities. And on defense, when you get those rebounds, that's a possession for the other team where the other team did not end up scoring, as they missed a shot and then you grab the rebound. So it's that can swing. The game is so overly simplistic. It's true in a sense, but it's overly simplistic just to say, oh, the team with the highest score wins. Yeah, it's like, yeah, that's true, and you want to score as many points as possible, but you really got to, like, it's all the other things that you do that lead to you getting that point, getting those points, or outscoring the other team, right? So anyway, yeah, I really think that this all-time 76ers team is quite a kicker team. Back when Charles Barkley played for the team, they didn't win a championship. You know, arguably, if Barkley, kind of prime Philadelphia 76ers, Barkley has more help. Maybe he can win a championship. So anyway, what do you think about the all-time Philadelphia 76ers? Please remember to like, share, subscribe, comment, do all that jazz. Thanks for joining me, everybody. Dragonfire out.